Welcome to 5 Perspectives of Powerful and Purposeful Living Strategies. I'm your host, Karen Jackson. Our special guest today is Daria Dillard Stone, award-winning author of Success Powered by Relationships. She is the CEO of Sharing Ministries, and she is the Parent Engagement Liaison for the Dayton Public Library. So we are so happy to have you here this afternoon, Mrs. Stone. Last time, Mrs. Stone discussed the importance of character in achieving success, and she encouraged others to remember that success is not always
because
a smooth process.
Mistakes. Honey, they didn't know
so
about
get
their
ready
mistakes.
for a
I don't know
ride.
why I thought
Today,
they did,
she's
but
discussing embracing success
and they would love
by
me
unpacking
anyway.
your past.
When I was
Our conversation
growing up,
is
honey, I was
already
told
in
that I wouldn't be
progress.
nothing because my mom and dad were nothing, and I said I went out on a vengeance. I was on a freaking mission, angry. I'm gonna show the world I'm gonna be somebody, and that's the attitude I had. But I never voiced that. I never just said it to anybody. But that's okay. And he said, there's a little girl in you that's still hurting from things that happened in her past as a child. We need to deal with that so you can take off to where you need to be. And he was right, but I never talked about that little girl. And mental illness ran rampant on that side of the family, my mom's side. But they hid it. They put people away in institutions and never talked about them. I digged deep and found some history. And a lady that she was doing a story on one of my mom's aunts, which was my great aunt, Aunt Della, and she found out things. And one of the things that she found out is that mental illness on my mother's side of the family, it was just rampant. How many sisters of my mother's mother had been put away, the 2 brothers, and then my grandmother had my mother and 2 sons, and all 3 of them suffered from some type of mental illness. But nobody would tell nobody, so nobody got help. So I can't change who my kid's grandmother is. We're still talking about character here, audience. If you're listening, I have not went off on somewhere else. Stay with me. And I thought about it, if I hide this, and then one day they find out that's my roots. That's my legacy.
Absolutely.
God picked my mom and dad. I didn't. He didn't make mistakes. And I'm like, there's a reason why all of this is happening. And it's not bad. I just don't know how to make the good out of it. But I was always afraid that if I got close to my mother, I would not have good character. And that was just the opposite. God showed me, she's 83 now, and grew up mad at the world, but determined I'm going to be another Aretha Franklin, Sarah Vaughan, or Gladys Knight. Now that was my childhood dream, but it kept me in things and competing. I love to compete. And it was building my character even as a young person. And God said, okay, I've got to put you back on the spindle. I got to purge you because some stuff, I got to pinch you. I got to prune you. Ouch. Mm-hmm. All of that hurt. And then I look back and it was necessary. It was necessary for me to come from the background that I came from. It was obvious that God was on my side. It was obvious that God was on my mother's side, her mother's side, because I ended up taking care of my maternal grandmother for 8 years. There was nobody else to do it, and I could not throw her away. But I couldn't carry that bitterness around. In fact, it was hurting nobody but me. So when I say I'm free and free indeed, I know what free and free indeed means. And the enemy will hate you when you really become free and free indeed, and you're not dead. You're not in the casket. It's not when you get to heaven. Actually, you can have that today. You can have that. You just make up your mind not to be ashamed of anything that has happened. And for some reason, it happened for you to do good through it, so it can work good through you. It's just God don't think and work like we do. Don't make no sense. But then when you get to the other side, like me and Miss Jackson have gotten, and I'm helping her, and believe me, she's helping me. We get to the other side and go, so that's why I had to cry so much. That's why I was so fearful. That's why I was so doubtful. That's why I was so inferior to people and women that looked like this and had this and did this. I was so inferior because I'm like, I'll never do that. I'm not smart enough. And the world will tell you, you need this and you need that. And then when you get that and this and that, you'll be successful. You know how many people who had a doctor's degree that are in the same line with the folks that's on welfare now? All that is not a guarantee. Only God is a guarantee. And that's where you got to put your hope and trust in. Always build your character. You don't get to a point where you don't need character.
And it's what you were saying is so important because you talked about how you were a people pleaser. And what I've learned is that that's why God had to take you through some of those history opportunities to kind of show you this is who you
Hurtful history.
Absolutely, absolutely. But that was part of maybe why you were trying to fill those voids with all of those other associations looking on the outside when you had everything you already needed on the inside.
Didn't know it.
But God had to prune you, as you said.
Prune me, purge me, prick me, yeah.
Absolutely. And you're right. And it's not always an easy process. But when you know that his hand is on you, then you can trust that the process may
Has
not
purpose, yeah.
Definitely.
yeah.
And like you always say, there's purpose in your pain. And sometimes we don't always understand why we go through the pain we go through. We all are, a tragedy, a situation away where we all can just snap and
Right.
lose our minds.
Right,
But it's
right.
with the grace of God that he teaches us and takes us through those things and then just carries us through those processes, sometimes the hurtful ones,
Right.
just so that we can come out on the other side and, like you said, share our stories with other people. Been talking about character, and you've said so many wonderful things about, living above average, knowing yourself, living beyond fear, moving in your fear, regardless of what you're going through. One key piece of advice that you would give.
That has been an exercise that I learned to do with Dr. Karen Townsend. She has the Sister to Sister conference that's now will be 25 years old, to write a letter to that girl named Daria. And I said, I was Daria's friend though. It said, "Dear sister friend, I know you feel like you've been abandoned. I know you feel like you do not have a future. I know you feel like you will turn out like everybody says. Your mom and dad, they were nothing, so you are destined for nothing." I'm not that kind of girl that kept a diary as a teenager, Now who keeps journals? I'm on my 26th journal.
Wow.
Since my husband died 10 years ago. Best thing that could have happened to me. All I know is my daughter Billy had to have brain tumor surgery on September the 9th of 2014. How I'm going to get through this and put the S back on your chest, Savior, not for super, but for Savior. But I said the day that letter came was the day before she had brain surgery.
Wow.
And it was,
Talk
what
about
made
God's
her,
timing.
yeah, it was that little thing that let me know I'm talking to me, but God was talking through me. Sometimes it's like, that ain't crazy. Now, you might try to call that a mental illness, but I'll accept that one, Oh my gosh. And I couldn't even tell her about it till a year or two later without crying. And what she's going through, I wanted God to give it to me. I got on my knees. Give me that tumor. Give it. You can do that. You can take it away and give it to me. They can look at her tomorrow and it's gone. And then next thing you know, I'm going to the doctor and it's mine. I will take that.
That's
but it
a
wasn't for
mother's
me.
love.
Yeah. And
it's interesting you say that because since we've been talking about challenges and things that God allows us, the pain that he allows to happen in our lives, to the wonderful things that your daughter Billy has done as a result of her going through that experience. She's always had been very accomplished, but the remarkable things that she's been able to accomplish, and now being an ambassador
Yes.
for, it just speaks
brain
to
tumor awareness.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It just speaks
God ain't through
to
with her either.
Absolutely, and it just speaks to that when you give it to God, what he can really do.
You're right. You're right.
Coming out. But I do want to ask you a few things. We've been talking all of the wonderful other things about God and the wonderful journeys he's taken us on. And I just want to end this part of the segment just by saying it's awful interesting. You said how you're or your boss saying you weren't a communicator in here. And not just a communicator, you are a minister.
Yes.
You see how
I said
God just
got
works
jokes.
it
Yeah,
out.
he does. But all of that was a part of the process. That is what he was trying to do. As I was trying to go forward to be another Aretha Franklin or Gladys Knight, nothing wrong with moving forward, but he had another direction for me, which is better than that. So when God called me to preach and speak for Women's Day, since I've been doing it since 1998, and they would put on the program evangelist, psalmist, minister, I said, okay, you made a mistake. I never said I was that. And that's what they saw. You don't have to to tell people who you are in God. The world is the only place where you have to do that. But when you're an anointed child of God, you ain't got to say nothing. That's what they saw. And I'm thinking, well, I better change how I'm acting then, because I was not worthy. I'm still not. But he said, but you are my child. And that's the road I had you on all along. And now me and my brother, when I heard him preach one Sunday, I cried. He stayed away for 25 years because he had done some things to the whole family. And I told him, don't come back. I don't care how saved, sanctified I am. Don't come back. And I'm going to say this, listening audience, because I need for you to know that the journey, it gets ugly on this journey. The process is so painful sometimes that you feel you can't get out of the situation you're in. You're too bad to be used by God. You just done too much, said too much at the wrong time to the right person. And God said, oh yes, I can use you. And I'm going to use him. Then I'm going to use both of y'all together, and you're going to talk about how I mended that relationship. When you started praying, prayers were answered. And my mom's in heaven. She said, it's like I lost my oldest son and I gained my whole family.
So let's talk a little bit about, besides ministering, there's some other things that you spend some of your time doing. I don't know how you do it all.
Yeah, God does that.
But one of your roles, you are the parent engagement
liaison. For Dayton Metro Library. Your Homework is an initiative. It's a pilot program right now that's being held at Northwest Public Library on Philadelphia and also at Madden Hills on Germantown. We're trying to see if this is a program that can go throughout all the libraries, but you know how it is when you start something new, you got to get the bugs out. So we're working with two different sides of town, and we want to be able to make sure that the parents of these young people who need to be tutored in grades K through 12 and beyond are coming to our facility, those two facilities, and asking between the hours of 2 and 6, Monday through Friday. It's free, asking for help with homework subjects that they may be weak in, or if they're gifted and they're doing well in school, we want to challenge them by giving them work that's above the grade that they're in. Recently, a young lady came in that's 26, and she wanted to get tutored, and she was crying. She said, I went downtown, and they said they don't have any programs for adults to be tutored, and I'm trying to get my GED. And I said, well, are you in any school or anything? She said, yeah, I go to Life Skills. I said, you fit the program. When you do a pilot program, it's just like the hope, the seed. If we plant it right, it's going to grow. And because of my history with parents, me being a parent advocate, a fighter for the voiceless, as I call them, the library has so much to offer adults. It's not funny. So we want to make sure parents don't drop their kids off at the library. They actually come in while they're getting help with their homework. I'm able to help them find a job, help them do their resume, help them get medical, help them if they need domestic violence information. It's a myriad of things, and all of it basically is already there at the library, and it's free. So, and we're working with AmeriCorps and Dayton Corps, and it has, oh my gosh, it has met our most highest expectations already. So we're talking about what we're going to do in the summer, because kids are not in school, so our hours need to change because they won't be coming in doing those hours. So the library is saying, we're in the community for good. Rock Your Homework is rock your homework, but we will rock your homework because we're going to rock your world. We know, and I speak it now, that will be in every library in Dayton, Ohio, and we plan to go across the country and actually train the trainer and train other libraries throughout the country how to do this program once we get it all together.
Well, that sounds wonderful, and I would just encourage anyone who, if you haven't had some time to go to any of the new renovated libraries, they're just really state of the art. There's so many different programs and so many other resources available. So definitely go to the Dayton Public Library website and get more information. Also hook up with Miss Daria Dillard Stone. You are the CEO of Sharing Ministries. You're award-winning author.
I always say I'm the servant. She knows that. She's saying CEO, but I'm the servant. But go ahead.
Okay. And you're also award-winning author for Success Powered by Relationships. And so you have a wonderful Blessed with Success book club.
Yes.
And you just recently celebrated the 1-year anniversary.
Yay.
And so I understand you have some wonderful things that's going to be in store for 2018.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about how that came about and what do they have to look in store for 2018?
Club started when I was asked to be one of the 21 authors of the book. And when the book came out, we won an award because of how well the book was put together and what that book said. Here it's 21 women. Jeannie Porter was the conduit of this book becoming to fruition. And wonderful woman of it. Book club meetings are held 6 times a year, every other month. 3 organizations have been birthed out of that book club. Next year, I asked the other 20 authors to come go on a tour with me. Let's make history together. And next year, we're going to have the book club, but it's going to go to different places. So that's kind of the rundown of the Blessed with Success Book Club. Thank you for allowing me this opportunity to talk about character, to talk about my ministry as a minister, as a mother, as a person that fell down but got back up. Thank you for allowing me to talk about my profession as a parent engagement liaison, a parent advocate consultant, and thank you for allowing me to talk about my journey as an author with this book called Success Powered by Relationships, and how I'm still able to minister in every one of these positions or titles that I have.
My success looks different from your success,
Exactly.
from someone else's success, but it's all about us working together, collaborating. Our listeners today have just learned some tools, some techniques, some strategies, some 5 perspectives on powerful and purposeful living. We thank you so much, and we look forward to hearing you.